Some days the Great Lakes are almost impossible to navigate. And with that in mind, when we set out to find the right boat for Great Lakes cruising, we landed on a 1987 DeFever 44OC. This full displacement trawler was designed by the late Art DeFever, who was a naval architect in the 1940s. And after he retired from the Navy, he designed some of the most beautiful blue water boats available. Today, we're going to take a tour of the Hallelujah. Alright, so we're going to go around to the bow of the boat before we head upstairs. So let's head down one of the gangways here, covered. You notice the gangway is nice and well, it's open for a boat of this size. And as you come through, as we head on the other side, we have access to the lower helm both ways, both sides, in case we have a person who's trying to dock the boat by themselves. They can go right from the helm to tie off a midship line, or it's just a good place to get some fresh air. These are screened in openings. If we want to open these and get fresh air, we just slide the door open. Alright, on the bow of the boat we have some lockers for utility. We have areas for our water lines, and we have a couple of spigots. One's freshwater spigot and one is water we would get out of our freshwater holding tanks. All of our hoses and things that we need to wash the deck down are in here, as well as to fill our water tanks. We have some filters for that. We have the forward stateroom hatch that gives us some access to some fresh air, or even in an escape situation, people can climb out there if needed. Our shoreline attaches to the port side of the boat, and another sort of shortcoming of the DeFever 44OC is it only has one hookup for shore power, and it's all the way forward of the lower helm. Up front here is our tackle for anchoring. We have a Maxwell windlass with about 210 foot of chain. We have a place to put our anchoring bridle, which goes on the anchor chain. When we anchor, we take a bridle and put it on there so that it doesn't put a lot of pressure on the bow. One of the nice features of the 44OC is the fact that it has stairs to the flybridge. There's a lot of vessels this size where you use a ladder or a very difficult way to get into the flybridge for people, and for guests of all ages, this is a nice way to get up. Okay, on this particular DeFever, the previous owners have enclosed the flying bridge with isinglass and all kinds of covering here that you can open up, and you can get all kinds of fresh air. Open up these smiles, they call these smiles, and you get a lot of cross ventilation if you need to, or in bad weather this can be enclosed and you can pilot the boat from up here even when it's raining or it's very cold out, because it's pretty nice inside. One of the nice features of this particular DeFever is that the previous owners had installed new electronics in the upper and lower helms. And here we're taking a look at the Raymarine 12-inch chart plotter. The Simrad autopilot has a Ritchie compass and a VHF radio, an ICOM VHF radio, along with just a good area to put your laptop and other things that you might need for navigation. Just a very comfortable space for us when we're out on nice days on Lake Michigan. A lot of storage up here. All four of these bench seats have storage. We have a lot of life jackets and line and other supplies that we might need. We hang some main life jackets here for easy access, and these are something we go over with guests when they're on board, that these are the primary ones we will grab. They're automatically actuated when they get wet, and so it doesn't take any
real trouble to get them on, and they will automatically inflate when you jump in the water. Exiting the flying bridge, you'll notice the rear area up here is a platform that holds a dinghy, and this is a 11.5-foot flex boat with a 30 horsepower Honda motor on it. It's got a center console and is a great utility for when you're anchoring offshore. You can get into the beach areas that are shallow that this boat can't get into. It also has a Marquip 800-pound rating davit, and that is how we have a bridle on this dinghy that we lift with that davit arm, and we swing it out over the side, the port side of the boat, and lower it in, and then we can tie it off and use it from there. Also, we have 2 kayaks, a bicycle, and for this trip we brought a paddleboard, which doesn't always come on this boat, but we have it here now. One of the previous owners knew that the amount of weight that we had on this boat was going to exceed probably the original spec, so we had these support struts engineered right here, and it keeps the weight from that currently holds of exceeding or breaking this upper platform. So we're going to open the door here and come down this flight of stairs. Nice grab rail here for people that can hold on to, they don't fall down. All right, the first thing you come to when you're inside the DeFever 44OC is the galley, and it's a pretty big galley for the size boat we have here. And one of the things I like about it is it's a U-shaped galley as opposed to just a linear straight line galley, because while you're underway you do have the ability to use this galley, and if it starts to get a little rocky on this boat, you can use the U-shaped galley to kind of hold yourself in place. But there's a lot of storage in here. We have quite a few things that a normal kitchen at your house would have for cooking and baking and preparing meals, and it's all stored away pretty nicely, and we're pretty happy with the amount of space we were given for that. We do have an older galley-made electric stove here, and it has 3 burners, and when you put it up, there's a little tray here for probably catching a little bit of the steam or whatever cooking runoff you might have, as well as it could be a place to put some utensil if you need to. It has a small oven. We also have an air fryer and a microwave on board that we use for preparing things, reheating them, and so there's plenty of utility in this galley. Now coming toward the saloon, these are the 2 refrigerators that we have, and they are newer than the boat. The previous owners put these in, and one of them is just a fridge, and the other one is a fridge with a small freezer, as well as we have an ice machine that makes a lot of ice. And we've been making ice all week, and it's been a great utility for that. A little working surface here to either put food out or whatever you want to do here. It's a nice workspace. Heading in the saloon in the lower helm, we have an L-shaped settee that we use to sit on. So does the dog, apparently, at times. And then this is a table that will fold out and raise and lower as needed. Right now we're using it as sort of a coffee table, but it can be used to serve the meals for 4 to probably 6 people. And this was actually made by one of the previous owners, named George Handel. The previous owners put carpet in here. I think it's a nice addition for traveling on the surface in here. It keeps your feet from slipping a little bit, although the teak flooring is in great shape. This is a nice little addition, and we're going to keep it. They also left a couple of lounge chairs. These are very nice reclining chairs, and we use them all the time. So there's plenty of seating in this small area for not only Chantel and I, but the guests. Down here we have lower helm, and it's basically a mirror image of the upper flybridge area. We have a Ritchie compass under here. We have another autopilot, Always got to be monitoring channel 16 and 9 on your VHF radio, and we even have an old-fashioned CD player. Down here is our AC and DC electrical panel, and it took a little time to get used to this. It's a little different than a normal home because you're using not only AC when you're on shore power at the marina, or using your generator essentially, but also you're using your battery bank when you're at sea or you're underway cruising. So the first area here is all your AC plugs and air conditioning and your range and water heater, cooling pumps for the air conditioner, that sort of thing. But once you're at sea, this is eliminated, and these two panels become your DC, where your bilge pumps run, all your lighting, nav lights, blowers, your freshwater pump, all of your electronics for navigation are all on the DC panel. We also have an inverter which converts battery bank power to AC, so we have some limited use of the outlets and some lighting while we're underway. Not everything, but some of it. We have our controls for our davit arm for the crane that takes the dinghy down are in there as well. And then we have our controls for the generator. We check our black water holding tank with this bank of lights, and an out of service ham radio, which we'll probably be replacing with something else down the line. Above this electrical panel is an old-fashioned charting area. And you'll notice up here we have a map of Lake Michigan, we have a weather station, some old and I guess you'd call them archaic navigation tools that we're learning to use in case our navionics goes out for some reason. We have the ability to look on, and we have charts for all the Great Lakes. We can look here and kind of see where we're going and how far it's going to be before we get somewhere using some of these tools.
Okay, now I know it says popped out.
Yes.
Turn it. No, don't push. Just turn.
Yep.
You can't go any further, right? Turn
No.
back the other way. No, don't push. I didn't say push.
Oh, okay. Go
Just
back
turn.
this way.
Just turn. Just turn the other way.
That
Turn
way.
it
No,
towards
no, back where it was. I'm sorry, backward. You can turn back and forth, and it won't connect to either one until you push it.
And that's what that guy didn't realize.
Oh.
See, that's that drop off.
There's a
when you-
lock.
Here's-
It's a
here's the
lock,
door.
precisely.
It's a lock.
Here's
And he
Scott.
said that you could turn on this one. He said you could have both of them running at the same time. You can't
Because of that lock.
because of that lock.
I see.
You either have the gen or you have shore. You cannot run both
But
and
now
have
you're-
them.
So I'm gonna go back to where it was.
Okay.
Yep.
That's locked in.
Right.
Just
Wait a second, just before you do that. You notice this is green, it's still on inverter?
yeah.
Even though you're on shore power?
Because when Dave
It
told
took,
you yesterday,
It'll take it about 30 seconds before
seconds to
it's
turn it
sampling
on.
to make sure that it's not got any spikes or whatever.
This protects the inverter from spiking.
Yes.
So it doesn't switch over till it's ready.
That's ready,
right,
basically.
it's
It's
smart.
ready.
It's a smart
It's a
inverter.
smart deal. So when we get offshore power, so right now there's no power to the boat
That's correct.
at all.
That's
right?
correct.
So this thing has to go. What am I doing? I guess I'm running the show right
Yep,
now.
is running the show.
Yep.
Okay,
So-
now we got, let's just leave it there because we're going to start the engines, right?
Okay.
That-
we don't do anything.
That stays
yet.
off from now on, doesn't it?
Until you
Yes.
come back to shore, or you want to run the generator, either way.
I could leave it there indefinitely.
Correct.
Until I want to run gen power.
Yeah.
Redundant
Also-
to have
Yeah.
two offs. There should be one off. I
That's
would
what
Well, I don't
mine.
think it
Mine's
makes
got
sense.
one, but
Yeah,
it doesn't
as
matter.
long as it's a physical lock that you have to push to
Yeah.
Yeah.
engage it.
So-
But you can't just flip it instantly.
But this is you're selecting whether you want
No,
to be
That-
on
never
one.
change this.
Just leave it.
And never,
Never change that.
Don't ever
The-
touch them.
These. This even has a key. We should lock it.
This was just a short little clip of the electrical panel layout that I did with the previous owners during the pre-purchase inspection, September of 2024. And I liked how they were able to share a lot of the knowledge of the boat, especially in this area that's important to remember and understand. So I thought it'd be a nice little clip to show in this video.
Okay, we're gonna head down to the master stateroom, which on the DeFever 44 LC is aft, and that was a big plus to find a layout where the staterooms are on opposite ends of the boat and not near each other. It does give guests on board some privacy, along with the owners of the boat some privacy. You're not on top of each other at night sleeping in close proximity, and you have two separate heads, which we're going to see. But that is a great feature of this particular vessel. So the master, and it is a steep set of stairs, so like on any part of the boat, you got to be mindful of how you're traveling. There's a lot of storage in here. You have a queen island berth with two nice big port lights for ventilation, and you can see how close to the water we are down here, and it's a great view. So that is a nice feature of where this is located. Lots of storage for clothes. We have a lot of drawers and hanging lockers on both sides of this bed, as well as a large storage closet, which we're using for miscellaneous items right now. But you could certainly put all kinds of different things in here above and beyond what the storage locker and drawers give you. You have some more hanging lockers, a lot of upper shelf space, a little desk area, and then also a full bathroom, which has not only a shower but a head and a sink. And this is a pretty nice shower. It's a stand-up shower with a nice glass door that was put in by the previous owners. Everything else is your standard small bathroom that you'd find even in an RV. The toilets are newer, so the Blackwater lines and all the tanks are upgraded. That's a big deal on a boat, and so we're very fortunate to have that have already been done. That's a dirty job, as they say. Okay, we're going to head to the forward stateroom. In the front of the boat, the forward V-berth stateroom is pretty big for a boat of this size, and we've had several guests on it over the last few weeks, and they seem to all have great reviews on sleeping up here and the amount of room they have to store their belongings. So you can make total privacy on this side of the boat by closing this upper hatch, which we normally leave open, and then it has a swinging door that would shut, which is also open for now. The V-berth is this queen size bed as well, and you can take out the center component if you want to. Oh, look, previous guest left us a quarter, so we're going to keep that. Or you can just leave this insert in, and you can have this whole area for sleeping. So it just depends on how the guests want it. We can go either way with it. But it's a pretty big sleeping area, and it also has a nice fan built in for some air, and then 4 port lights that we saw at the beginning of the video. Alright, so coming on down, we'll get a quick shot of the head on this side, and the head is similar to the head that was in the master stateroom, with the exception it doesn't have a built-in shower. It has what is called a wet head, and so the wet head is very rarely used in a boat. Essentially, this comes up and you would shower, and there's a drain underneath this little piece of carpet, and you could use this area like a shower. But most people don't do that. It creates a lot of issues with toilet paper and other paper products in here you got to get rid of first. So in the event that we ever had to do that, I guess we'd do it, but it's not really set up for that on a regular basis. Everything else is the same. We have a nice sink and a head toilet, and they both work really well, and they're new, so that's a good thing. Another port light for ventilation, nice mirror, and under counter storage behind me and above the little medicine cabinet. Alright, we're headed in the engine room here, but before I get down there, there's some of the lockers that are available to the guests. Right now we have a little bit of hardware in there, but we can take that stuff out. These are things that we use for repairs on the boat, as well as has our 50 amp hookup for shore power, but we can take these things out and people can hang their clothes in here as well, so there's a lot of room. So one of the great features, and I think the best feature that separates this boat from a lot of others in this class, is the engine room. A lot of engine rooms on vessels this size are either access to the hatches that open up in the saloon or in the aft part of the boat below the rear deck. There's a lot of times that's another area, but this one has a walk-in engine room. And so one of the nice things about it is you have a little door to get in, but you can actually check the engine room status before you walk in with this little sight window. But while you're underway, you need to come in here every hour to hour and a half to check on things. And so we have hearing protection up here and eye protection. And when we go in here for that purpose, you have to be careful because the boat might be rocking around. But right now the boat is off, and we're going to take a look at what's in here. Okay, there's a lot going on in this room. I'll start on the port side of the boat. You notice that there's two big white contraptions there, machines. Those are actually our air conditioners. One air conditioner controls the galley and the saloon, and the other one controls both staterooms. So they provide plenty of cold air when needed. Right below that is the pump for those air conditioners, and they're basically heat pumps, and they push a lot of water. In fact, you might have heard water running as we were outside earlier. That's what that is a lot of water running through these air conditioning units to keep them cool and to exchange heat. Right below that pump is one of our stabilizer setups. This boat has NIAD stabilized systems, and it keeps the boat from rocking side to side in heavy seas. And when the boat's underway, you'll see these hydraulics moving. They're run by a gyro, and so they move to keep the boat from swaying back and forth. Moving back, we have both engines. This has twin Ford Lehman diesel 135 Ford Lehman diesel 135 engines, and these produce 135 horsepower each, which is not a lot of horsepower, but again, you don't get on plane on this kind of a boat. This hull is designed to just push through the water, and that's what these things do. A lot of good torque, and very reliable. These are actually Marinage tractor engines, and they're designed to go 20,000 hours. Right now these have about 3,700 hours on them, and they've been used heavily over the years, so I've so far given them a clean bill of health. Recently we did some work to these engines. We had to do a valve lash.
So a valve lash on the Ford Lehman engines is simply using a feeler gauge to set the correct amount of mechanical clearance in the valve train so that the valves open and close on time. And this took us a couple hours, but we were able to set the valve lash properly using the manual.
We changed the heat exchanger, which is essentially the radiator of these engines. We changed the freshwater impeller that pushes cold water through the system.
Here's a short video of the impeller change. The previous owners have left me a tool, and they were kind enough to show me how to use it, and made quick work of extracting this impeller. It took about 15 minutes. Once you get it out, just do a quick inspection of the housing, make sure there's no damage, and then it's time to put it back in.
Conceivably, it should just go right in.
Here we have a little tool that I bought in order to make that color go in a lot easier. And that's where she is.
Yep, it did. Pretty simple. And here is one of the old impellers that we took out, and both the engines got a new one of these, so they're in decent shape for being older, but we do it just as a maintenance. We also tied two belts inside of this NIAD pump, because while this is installed, you can't get a serpentine belt in here, so we have two of them tied inside to make sure that we have access to a belt really quick. This belt goes bad. Like any diesel, it's important to have clean fuel, and so they have Raycor fuel filters servicing both engines, and that has so far kept these engines running smooth and clean, and that's important in diesel. Right now I have a lot of tools out. I've been doing some work here and there, and so there's a little area here that we store tools, a little workbench with a vise, and this area will be cleaned up at some point, but right now you can see the amount of tools that you might need on a boat are out and ready to go if needed. Alright, in the rear of this engine room we have storage for a lot of spare parts that are needed. They're all organized and labeled, and it has everything from spare oil coolers, transmission coolers, heat exchangers, hoses, filters. There's just a lot of things in these bins that are required while you're underway to keep you moving. In the rear, behind these storage areas or storage bins, we have a water heater. It's about 10 gallons, so it's not a lot of hot water. We have a transfer station for fuel, is where we take fuel from the aft fuel tank, which is underneath the stateroom bed in the aft section, the master stateroom, and we could transfer it to our side tanks to keep them level. Right here you see a sight tube that shows our red diesel in it, and right now we're just under half full, and each of these tanks holds about 300 gallons, so we have about 150 gallons in each tank, plus about 100 gallons, maybe a little bit less, in the aft tank. So we got plenty of fuel. These engines burn about 4 gallons an hour total between both of them, so they're pretty fuel efficient as far as large vessels go. Over here we have a Westerbeek 12.5 kW generator. That's something that we can turn on and use while we're underway to have use of our large ticket items like the stove or the microwave, air conditioners. All that can be run with that generator on, and we put about 7, 8, 9 hours on it already, and so far so good there. No issues. Works very well. On the either side of these engines are our freshwater tanks, and we also have a water maker, which is something that is used when you're in salt water. You can actually make fresh water out of it. The water tanks themselves hold about 175 gallons each, so you have a 350 gallons capacity of fresh water, and quite frankly we go through it quite quickly. Back here is the control area for our Naiad stabilizers, and that runs the hydraulics. You can see a sight tube there for our hydraulic fluid. And finally, one of the unique things about a DeFever is this little area. This is a water chest, and this water chest allows all of the through-hole water valves to be placed in one area. We have our generator water, our port and starboard engine water, and our air conditioning water all attached here, as well as our water maker, which can be used in salt water, which we're not using right now, all lined up here. Now this used to be also a source of water for the heads, but previous owner changed that over to fresh water from our internal storage tanks, because it's a lot cleaner. So you can see the utility of this engine room not only allows me as the owner currently to have access to everything important running the boat, it also means that the previous owners had that same access, which gives us a lot of confidence that the maintenance was done properly.
Final couple highlights of the engine room. You see the primary fuel filters here above the heat exchanger, the oil filter. There's the freshwater impeller pump housing where the impeller extraction was taking place. There's a good view of the Naiad stabilizer pump that's on the crankshaft pulley of the port engine. Here's a better shot of the fuel transfer station in the rear, the engine room. See the Raycor there for transferring fuel. It has its own Raycor as well as a fuel pump and the valve actuators. See the Raycor there on the generator. as well as the fireboy extinguishing system. A little better shot of the heat, hot water heater, and the stabilizer, hydraulics, and the air conditioner. This is why good running engines are so important. Take a look at what Lake Michigan can give you.